Today we are going back to the year 1983, which seems to have been a good year, man. I can't remember who in the heck I went to this concert with, but it was definitely with some friends. And of course, being 1983 and being how we kind of were back then, we were definitely on some of the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds yet again. Definitely. Because I remember during the show, one of the guys in ACDC in particular really had me like going, whoa, just weird vibes from Malcolm Young, but more on him soon. The show was ACDC, the Flick of the Switch Tour, November 7th, 1983, with opening act Fastway. Now, any of you that are fans of the band Motorhead, of course, know that when Fast Eddie Clarke left the band Motorhead, he joined and co-started the band Fastway with Pete Way from the band UFO. Of course, Pete Way playing bass, Fast Eddie playing guitar, Irish vocalist Dave King on vocals, and the great Jerry Shirley on drums. And Jerry Shirley, of course, being a former member of Humble Pie, he had played with Sammy Hagar, Syd Barrett. I made my notes here, of course, about these cats. Alexis Corner, John Entwistle of The Who. And so we have like an all-star band with Fastway. And when their album came out, at first everyone was kind of like, wow, these guys are good. Different than I thought. I thought maybe it would be a little heavier, just because I thought it would be more either blues-based or Motorhead sort of leaning. But, it was different. And it was rock and roll, though. And it was a good album. I ended up seeing Fastway maybe 2 or 3 times on that tour for the first album. And I got to say they were always good. But I always preferred Fast Eddie Clarke's work with Motorhead. I can't help it. When he was with Lemmy and Filthy Animal Taylor, man, that stuff cannot be beat, right? Anyway, so when that album came out, I liked it. I picked up a copy. The show was good. They did 13 songs. I remember the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was really kicking in during the Fastway set. Them being the opener, they did, I believe, most of their album with the highlights of their set, of course, including most of the stuff on the album. But I like Say What You Will, their hit song. Easy Livin', which was their cover of Uriah Heep's version, Easy Living. Plus Give It All You Got and the song Heft. 13 songs total that night. It was a great show. I remember the audience digging them, but we were waiting for the one and only ACDC. It's not every day you get to hang out with or see and be really close to Angus Young and the energy that he had and brought. We were about 5th row at this concert, so we were very close to the energy, and the band was comprised of Brian Johnson on vocals, Angus Young on lead guitar, of course, and massive rhythm, and Brother Malcolm on rhythm guitar, Cliff Williams on bass, and for the first time ever on tour, replacing Phil Rudd from ACDC on drums, was the drummer known as Simon Wright. Yeah, and this was his first public tour with ACDC following the departure of Mr. Phil Rudd. He's actually been in the news a lot lately, Phil Rudd has. Poor guy. He's had a rough go at it, man. So Flick of the Switch was the tour, which the album was released in the summer of 1983. And it was a good album. It wasn't, to me, as good as For Those About to Rock. But they did bring the cannons to the show, I'll tell you that much. So what happens is Fastway plays their show. They walk off. The anticipation's building. We're excited. ACDC's coming out, man. And they did. And here comes Angus, just like you would think, man, in the schoolboy outfit, completely full of energy, going back and forth, running and running. That guy must have lost, 4 pounds during that show. No joke. That guy was insane. If you've seen ACDC live, there's no joke about them. There's a reason they have such longevity, and people make fun of them having 2 or 3 chords, but they're a major powerhouse. And any band that's ever seen or played, or anybody that's a fan of ACDC knows, man, come on. Let there be rock. So they did a lot of good stuff during their set, man, and I was Tripping. Yep. It's probably becoming a cliche by now on this channel for me to say that, but hey man, Hanoi rocks. So look man, we were tripping and I was watching Angus and I was just amazed because everything I'd ever heard about this guy was true. Here he was in front of me. He's laying on the stage going in circles, going crazy. He's a madman. He's running back and forth and we thought we were crazy. Angus Young was just something else, man. He was really something else. And what was cool about Angus Young was that he was just like you thought he'd be. This little impish short guy with immense talent. And of course, Brian Johnson on vocals was a powerhouse. It was incredible. But when I was tripping, I was fixated on, yep, Malcolm Young. I was watching him almost throughout the whole show, and he had this weird intensity about him that he didn't really move, but he kind of bounced up and down and vibrated. And I knew he was a big drinker too, so I was like, I'm on some, substances, and I know he is. And man, the way he played his guitar was just trippy, man. Anyone that's really seen ACDC up close knows exactly what I'm talking about. Malcolm Young was like a force, a massive rhythm. Between him and Cliff Williams and of course Simon Wright, it was killer, man. It was a really killer show, and it was one of those things where you don't walk away from that kind of adrenaline easily. Even when I came down from the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, I was still high on the ACDC. And let me tell you something, man. Those guys had a hell of a set list that night. The exact set list that night. They started out with Guns for Hire. They did Shoot to Thrill, Back in Black that night. They played Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, Highway to Hell. They did Let There Be Rock that night, TNT. 17 songs total. Wow. Brian Johnson, what a vocalist, huh? 17 tunes with that gravelly voice. That had to have been like, after the show, I need lots of whiskey, something. So for the encore, this is the main subject of this video. The encore of this show consisted of TNT, then into You Shook Me All Night Long, and then they had two cannons, not one, two cannons on the stage, one on this side, one on this side, or that side and that side, depending on your perspective. Woohoo! So we're tripping, we're like watching these cannons wondering, when are they going to go off? Are they just for show? Do they really fire off? Because I found out later they didn't use those cannons in every show on the tour, because some of the venues would not allow it. But in Peoria, Illinois, at the Civic Center, they did. That's good and that's bad, because here's what happened, man. When they broke into that, and I'd been fixated on, Mr. Malcolm Young, I'd been fixated on Angus, and I was fixated on those goddamn cannons all night long, and all of a sudden, it wasn't just like a little sound, my friends. It was not like fireworks. It was like sonic booms. And so I don't know if I've heard stories that they overloaded it that night or on lots of the nights of the tour, but when they blew off those cannons, they supposedly shot out lots of fireworks with it. And I know Brian Johnson has reported to have burns on his shoulders because of that on the various tours. That thing was so loud, those two cannons were so loud that I literally remember thinking, oh my God, I can't hear as good as I did a minute ago. And it never went back to normal. That night, my hearing was screwed. And you know what happened? I talked to so many people over the last, since 83, 40 years ago. I've talked to so many people, dozens online and in person that were there or that saw that same tour or the tour where they had, other cannons. And they said, yep, I have hearing loss and I have tinnitus or whatever. So to this day, I hear ringing right now. And you know what happened? I was speaking about this subject with my friend Lydia Paweski and my friend Bill Meisner recently when I was in LA doing my new album, Dark Days Unfazed. Guess what? Both of their fathers are ear doctors. What do they call those? Oh man, I'm going to get nailed in the comments. I want to say podiatrist, but it's something, that's foot something, right? Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Yeah, it starts with a B, I'm sure of it. Somebody tell me, what's an ear doctor called? Smack. See, I took care of it. I corrected my mistake. Okay, back to my point. Bill Meisner and Lydia Paweski, love you both. Both of their fathers, after that tour came through Peoria, reported that, man, you can't believe how many people came through that have hearing problems because of that ACDC and those cannons. So it wasn't just me, folks. So you can look this stuff up online. There was hearing damage reported by lots of people, and I definitely lost a lot of my hearing that night, and so did a lot of my friends. So I just want to say, we should have a class action lawsuit. No, never mind. It's way too late. I'm sure the it's too late to go back now and sue, man. I think it's too late. And I wouldn't do that anyway. I went there willingly, and I knew there was going to be cannons. But, man, I didn't know I was going to go freaking deaf because of it. Thanks, Angus and the company. No, man, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, comment, because I like to comment back with everybody. And I've got some more really cool videos coming your way and some great stories planned this week. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, but I'm going to have a regular schedule planned soon for you guys. And thanks for subscribing. Rock and roll ain't noise pollution. Adios.